in Dubai and Abu Dhabi for those 5 weeks, it was great for me because it was like not an eye opener, but it was just more like refreshing because you're training and then you hear the call of prayer. So every single person, I don't care if you're the janitor or the workman or the fighter or anything, you're all going to pray at the same time. You're all shoulder to shoulder praying next to each other. And there's no like ranking in that. We're all shoulder to shoulder. We're all praying to the same God, doing the same exact thing at the same exact time. And you don't really get that kind of feeling in America. It's like if I pull out my rug to pray on the street at a certain time, it's, people are looking at you weird, like, oh, what is this? Or you'll have random people just like beeping or saying stupid things because they don't understand what it is. They don't understand the discipline it is to, all right, this is God's time now. We're supposed to pray 5 times a day. I don't care where it is. What you're doing, it needs to stop for this. And every single one of those guys had that mentality. Like, God's ahead of all of us.
When you stop to pray, how long do you stop for?
Every prayer is probably like 5-10 minutes long. So once you begin the prayer, it's not that long. So like I tell people all the time where they're like, dang, you got to pray 5 times a day? But in the end, it's 50 minutes out of your life, 50 minutes out of your day, out of 24 hours when you waste so much time scrolling through TikTok, scrolling through the phone, and things like that. It's like, give those 10 minutes to God. Give those 10 minutes to the person that brought you here.
How does it work on a day you fight?
Same thing. Usually, so there's a morning prayer when you wake up in the morning prayer. Then there's afternoon. Then there's a midday prayer. And then there's a sunset prayer right when the sun sets. So usually I'm right after that prayer is the fights. After that probably. And then after the fight, you pray again, your late night prayer. So for me also, it just holds you accountable to no matter what happens in the fight, whether you win or lose, I still owe it to God to pray. Whether it's I'm thanking him for a win or I'm thanking him that I'm still able to pray. I'm still alive right now after this fight, that I'm still here, because anything can happen.
These prayers are at very specific times during the day, or if you were in the middle of something, are you allowed to put it off and then pray afterwards?
So you have a time frame. So from the morning prayer, you have all the way until the afternoon prayer to do it. And then from the afternoon prayer, you have to the midday prayer. And then there's some people that I tell people all the time, like when you're starting out, if you pray a prayer late, do it late. Get the quantity in and then work on the quality later, but at least get the quantity in first. So you have to pray 5 times a day. So when you're beginning out, there's so many people that they come in, and my coach, he was Taylor, he converted to Islam, and we had so many people telling him, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Why are you wearing this? And it was just like turning him off from the whole thing. It's like, I was born from a different culture. I was born doing different things. My family isn't Muslim. So if I'm with them and you see me hanging out with people that do these type of things, don't come here crying to me. Like, I tell them, bro, go at your own pace. Start patiently. If you miss the morning prayer, all right, hit both of them in the afternoon. If you miss the afternoon prayer, all right, hit that one in midday. But just get the quantity in. Talk to God. It centers you a lot of the time too, because in those 10 minutes, you're not stressing. You're not thinking about the stresses of life. Oh, I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. I gotta get this done. That normal people have in the workday. I think it's kind of like a meditation for me, and it just clears my mind, clears my head, and knowing that I got it done. And at the end of the day, I know that I did my 5 prayers. That's the most important thing. I don't care. Oh man, I forgot to do my homework. I forgot to do this. I forgot to do the stuff that I was supposed to do for work. But it's like, I did the most important things, which is pray.
And when you're in a camp, I would imagine that kind of having a rigid schedule like that and having extreme discipline and having a real purpose, like when you're doing this to pray to God and you have these 5 prayers that you do during the day, like it keeps you on the path. I mean, those guys, there's something to whatever Khabib's doing that's not just technique. It's not just that they have great technique. It's not just that they're tough guys. There's also this devout sort of ideology that they've ascribed to, that they live their life by. They're so devout in their religious beliefs that they have so much confidence. It's almost like that's all taken care of. Like they can just concentrate on what they do.
Yeah.
Like that, God has a plan for everything. You don't have to like have this existential angst that a lot of people roll around through life with.
Yeah, we have a thing called tawakkul. It means like God's will. So whatever his will is, that's what it is. So you could sit there and train and be super stressed out and like, am I going to win or am I going to lose this fight? It's like, you just tell yourself, whatever God's will, that's what's meant to be. I've lost on the biggest stage. I've lost my debut in the UFC. I'm coming undefeated and I'm like, I lose a close fight and I'm telling you, why did God do this to me? Like, I pray 5 times a day. Like, I'm a good person. I do this. And it's like, when you're thinking back to that, it all brought you to where you are today. So knowing that his plan is always the best plan, no matter what. So now when I look back at the losses I've had, it's like, maybe I wouldn't be where I am right now. Well, I wouldn't be as tough as I am. I wouldn't be as smart as I am. I wouldn't have changed the ways I've trained. And I think that all of Habib's guys had that mentality. You don't have the fear of losing, because
Right.
if I lose, I was meant to lose. If I fail, it was for a reason. There's a bigger plan in the end, and God may not show it to you now, but he may show it to you in a couple of years. He may show it to you in the next life. And because I go into every fight and I'm asking God, because we put our head down to the ground, and that's when you're like closest to God when we pray, and it's called sujood. So when you're putting your head down, you're talking to the highest, and you talk deep from the heart, because that's basically kind of like you're face to face with God. And I always tell him before a fight, and I'm like, if it's gonna make me a better person, a better Muslim, grant me this victory. If it's not, then grant me the loss. If it's gonna make me a worse person, it's gonna give me an ego. It's gonna make me unhumble. It's gonna make me worse to the people that I love and the people that matter to me most, which is my family. Then I don't want the win. I don't want the victory. I don't want the wealth. And just having that, like, that sense of whatever happens, it's meant to happen. I think it just changes everything.
It's got to give you a feeling of peace. I think that for a fighter, having a religion like that, and especially being devout, it does have an advantage in that that's one more thing you don't have to think about.
And it also just builds you up from when you're a kid. The discipline of, I know I have to do this, this, and this every single day. I'm not allowed to eat this. I'm not allowed to eat pork. I'm not allowed to do this. I'm not allowed to gamble. I'm not allowed to play drink or anything like that. So it puts you in those things. And a lot of those things are worse for you as a fighter anyway. Like, you shouldn't be drinking. You shouldn't be eating pork. You shouldn't be going to clubs or anything like that. So that's why you're seeing most of the Muslims starting to be the best fighters out there.
Well, it's also they're coming from really tough camps too.